I used to wait for my desire to either do or not do things in life, habits, stuff on the weekends, drinking, partying, dressing a certain way, going out, getting hammered. I waited for my desire to not want to do those things to come first, and then I would obey because then I didn't have the desire to do those things anymore. And I was waiting. I thought that was the process in which God changed my heart. It's like, okay, well, I'll know he changed my heart when I don't want to do those things. And that's not how God works. God loves to partner with us. God loves to have something to work with. He needs it. And sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he loves to pull people out of the trenches. But I waited and waited and waited for that desire to go away before I was fully submitting to God, because I hated to be uncomfortable. And our society, culture, world, generation, whatever, just our human nature. As humans, we hate to be uncomfortable. And so there's so many people, and I used to be this way, where it's like, well, I'll follow God when it feels good. I'll follow God when I don't want to do these things anymore, when I feel convicted, when I feel differently about going out partying, when I feel bad about it and all this stuff. And it's like, God's not in the business of keeping you comfortable. When I first started following Jesus, vividly, I remember I was sitting in my room on Friday, and every Friday night I would sit there when I usually had a repeating reservation at this Venice Beach spot in LA when I was living there. Every Friday, 7 p.m., I was there ordering an espresso martini, partying with my friends. And we weren't doing anything wrong by any means. One, I was getting drunk, but there was nothing inherently wrong with spending time with friends. But I knew that I wanted more of God, and that required God to have more of me. It's simple logic, but the hardest thing for my mind to wrap around at that time. And so I remember literally I was sitting in my room. I was watching The Chosen. I was in my word. I was just doing everything I could to not go out and do something to distract or to get pleasure from the world. Every fiber of my being wanted to be at that bar, drinking an espresso martini, ordering crispy rock shrimp at Bell's Beach House in LA. But I sat myself in there and I required myself to have more of God. And little by little, God chipped away at that desire. And you can only want more of the presence of God when you experience the presence of God. It is a thing. Taste and see is a real thing where you taste it. You get in the vicinity of Jesus, and it is literally, you don't want anything else. It's literally insane. And so the desire does not change. You have to suffer through it. You got to get uncomfortable. You got to say no. And then obedience comes. And then he gets to reach in, and he changes your desires because you experience what actual life is, God's actual design of life, which is not to distract yourself and go get attention from guys and get drunk and go home and just have overbearing thoughts. That was me literally every Friday. But instead I experienced peace, and then I was craving more of God more than I was craving crispy rock shrimp and an espresso martini. And that he does something in that. And so if you're sitting on the other end of this, and the reason you're not submitted to God, or you're not changing your habits or weekends or weekdays or whatever, now is the perfect time to realize that just because you don't have the desire to change those things, but you know that you should, and you're craving more of God, and you want that change in your life, and you want a relationship with him, do it anyway. Obedience is met with reward. It's biblical, and he wants you, and he wants time with you, but you have to let go of things so he can enter in. And that is the biggest thing that I could ever give advice on, is that you'll be waiting forever if you wait for the desire to change, to obey God. You'll be waiting forever because our flesh loves pleasure.